Well, there have been a lot of rampant robberies which is taking place in the Upper East region. In the beginning of this year, we had a couple of them, and then it seemed to have died down. But from June alone, they've been reoccurring, and this is giving a lot of people stress. Now, one of such people is the regional minister. Yes, he has become alarmed, so alarmed. So he even gave his views about this. This is Mr. Stephen Yakubu. He's the regional minister for the Upper East region. He expressed his worry about the spate of armed robbery in this area, and he's so shocked that it keeps on happening, especially even coming to the last quarter of the year. It seems they have sort of gotten some energy to come back again. In the beginning stages when they started, the police and other security agencies were made to be on their toes, and it seems this helped a lot. So the cases started subsiding, but all of a sudden it's like these robbers have just gone to get some vim from some place and are coming back. And some of these robberies they take place in funny and strange areas, and the way they happen is like these robbers are using something spiritual. What's happening in the Upper East region, and why is it happening so? The regional minister, he cautioned the public about these armed robberies. He also made them know that they were laying ambush in certain areas, and they attack especially passengers in vehicles and motorists. So for those of you who are moving around in the Upper East region, you have to be very careful. There's also the tendency of you being attacked if you are alone and you're in a vehicle alone. So be careful. Make sure if you are one who's not too sure of what is happening around you or where you are going, you don't go alone. This is happening a lot, and it's amazing. They are just there at the right time to get victims, and the way they go about it, before you know, unsuspecting, daytime, evening time, anytime, they are just around lurking in such areas. They've really studied the area to know the places that are far away from the reach of police officers. So you guys will have to be careful. According to the regional minister, he said even at Bogatanga, there were some robbers who deliberately drove, heads of cattle from the bush into the roadway. So what happened was that people, were moving on the road in Bogatanga, a certain road there, and just like you are in your vehicle going to where you are going, and you see a lot of cows on the road. You see this plenty, animals. It looks like they are crossing, so you just relax, and then you stop moving your car because you want them to pass, and then after that you can go ahead. The trotros, whatever vehicle, motors, cars, they all just slow down. Nobody's suspecting of anything because these are animals. You get it? You have no idea that there's going to be a robbery taking place. And what happens is that these robbers, they work with some people in these cars, and sometimes they themselves are inside some of these vehicles. So what the robbers will do is that they deceive the passengers on board the vehicles, and then and motorists. Then what the robbers do is that they pretend to be herdsmen moving with cattle to the opposite side of the highway to graze. So you get it, while some are inside the car, making sure things are calm and all. There are others who are pretending to be those headsmen. They actually dress like them with some stick and carrying some things in their bag. You have no idea that these are actually robbers. And even where they ever get to get these cattle from, it's amazing. So they use this kind of cattle. We don't know whether they steal them or whether they own them. You get it? So they pretend to be headsmen moving with this cattle to the opposite side of the highway to graze. Now what happens is that when the drivers slow down for these livestock to cross over, then the headsmen attack the vehicles. You get it? They attack the vehicles. Sometimes they are even getting information from inside the vehicles to know which ones to attack first, and to know which vehicles have less security. They check the women and the children in there. They check who can be strong enough to prevent them. They are doing this thing so calculatedly, and we are wondering how come. So be very careful. Upper East region, if you're around there, be very careful. They are now using even different tricks than we've seen before. And when it comes to think about the inputs and the stress to get all this cattle. I mean, think about it. For a robbery, you have to go through all that stress to get all these cattle. I mean, it beats my imagination. So after getting the cattle, you then use this cattle to cross the road. That means wherever you get the cattle from, they are going to drive this cattle all the way from that place, keeping them, intact until they reach the roads where they plan on doing these robberies. And I'm just wondering, if you are able to get the cattle, why won't you sell the cattle and then make money? Or it's not your cattle? We just don't know what is happening. How are they going about this? Are they partnering with the cattle owners, or do they own this cattle themselves, or do they steal them? Too many questions are arising, and these robbers, they are very tricky these days. So they'll bring the cows to block the road. You think they are crossing, and when the car's on the road, you yourself, you can do nothing. You definitely have to stop. Even if you cannot stop, you know that when you hit a cow, you definitely have an accident or something. So no matter what you do, you stop one way or the other. You know the cars cannot fly. So if you had a car that could fly, then probably you'd be able to, just go over these cattle and continue. You get it? Now they are using this trick, and they are just being very smart about it. Now, Mr. Yakubu is also the chairman of the Regional Security Council, and we are hoping that he will use this position, to do something serious about it. According to him, the criminals come from other parts of the country to the region to commit crimes. He said that these criminals are from, the neighboring countries. We are wondering, is it that they don't have things in their nation that they have to come on top here? When you look at places like Burkina Faso and the like, they are the ones which are neighboring Ghana right now. So we look at Burkina Faso like this, and we are wondering, like, how are they doing it? Do they come here to rob Ghanaian cities and go and change it to their own currency there, or what? So we have to know. Or are they also working with some of the robbers who are also Ghanaians? You get it? We have to find out. But so far, the regional minister has confirmed that most of these are foreigners, and they are from, how easy it is to move from Burkina Faso to Ghana, from the upper sides, even the upper east, the upper west, even down to the northern regions. So these foreigners are doing their part in robbing the people in the upper east areas. Now, the regional minister said that he's going to enhance the database because some of these guys, may have been people who have committed crimes before. So that when they have a very good record of these types of criminals, they'll be able to trace them to prevent them from doing it again. But the question is, would there be a need for you to trace a criminal if you jail him once and for all? You get it? It's not. We are not saying that his move is not a good move, but sometimes what happens is that we catch these criminals, and one way or the other, after they are sent to court and they are given a fine or they are sent to jail. The next thing you know, after some months, they are not in prison anymore. What happens? Is it that they use their robbery tricks to rob themselves out of the prison, or what? Like, or do they also use some types of spirits to vanish out of the prisons? These things have been happening on and on. Why are they being arrested and then we don't see them anymore? I think there should be some form of a check done where people who have been jailed for robberies and such crimes would be checked on. You have their names, and then you check to see after every month, are they still in prison? You check to see the activities of things going out, and the movement and the coming in of people, who's allowed to enter and who's not permitted to. And are these people who have been jailed for 5 years still there? After a year, are they still there, or have they also vanished? You get it? Yeah, that we have to ensure all of those stuff before. But anyway, his idea is also not bad. He wants to have these records in place so that they'll know the next time that, oh, okay, this guy he has robbed before, or this person he has been in such a crime before. Um, in the meantime, please, we advise motorists and those passengers who use the Bogatanga roads and other roads in the Upper East region. We don't want to scare you and then tell you to be doing things you're not supposed to do. I mean, if someone who has experienced this type of robbery is in a car again and then he sees any type of cattle crossing, even if they are not robbers, he'll be afraid and he might be forced to get out of the vehicle. Imagine that. But that would be actually the safe thing. I don't know if it will be advisable for cars to now return anytime they see cows crossing the road. Would they have to stop and return so they are sure the cows are no more on the road before they go back, or do they just wait like they are supposed to wait and pray that it is not a robbery attack? This is serious. We have to do something about it. There has to be some solution to keep these measures in place that will keep these prone areas from being hotspots for these criminals. There could be, some police who check those areas or some sort of police checkpoints around those spots so that when cattle or any of their tricks are being employed, the police will also be on guard to make sure that it is really cows that are crossing and not a cover up for some criminal activities. But in the whole, think of it. Even the passenger who's in a trotro who cannot decide for the driver to turn back, whilst people are in a hurry to go to their place, and one who tells them, look, let's go back because this is a robbery, this could be a robbery. It's going to even be a whole different argument in the vehicle, because people's perceptions are different. Not everyone would agree, and on the other hand, if it is not really a robbery, that would have just been a waste of time. So there has to be something critical done about it. You have to beat these criminals at their tactics. If not, they'll be always smarter than we are, and they'll always have the upper hand in such ordeals. In the meantime, we want to send our condolences to those who have been attacked in those areas. We wish them a speedy recovery from all the violence that they face, and also we do hope that they recover the monies and all those things that have been lost in these types of robberies. Now, another thing the regional minister said was that sometimes these criminals also disconnect electrical cables. The street lights that have been mounted on the roads. Yeah, that's one of the tactics they use right now. They would find ways to disconnect it. I don't know whether they go with the pretense of being electricians. We just don't know how they are able to do it, but they manage to disconnect the cables, and so that when it's night time, the whole place is dark. All the street lights do not work, and you realize that communities are in darkness. And when these communities are in darkness, then they carry out those their evil acts. And what's amazing is, it is least suspecting to many that the robbers are those behind the street lights not working. Get it? Some think, oh, it's one of these faults that the government hasn't seen to, and some will be blaming the government or the regional minister or whoever is responsible for the street lights. But they wouldn't know that it's actually the robbers who have taken this action and destroyed these lights so that they will not function, just so they could carry their evil act. So one thing also to know is, when you are in an area where the street lights are so many and yet so many of them are not on, then you have to be very careful. Just be very ready to speed a lot. Anything that comes your way or crosses you or tries to stop you, make sure you do not stop. If you realize that something has blocked the road, make a reverse and go back, for your own sake. Wherever you are going, if you miss it, you'll be able to go another time. But if you try to go when you notice, like for example, the place is dark and there's a big truck parked somewhere, don't force yourself to go. Otherwise, you just go and you die, or you lose that which belongs to you. So be very careful. For those of you who realize anything like this, just be ready to step on the accelerator and go back. Just speed as fast as you can. Don't look at anybody, don't say anything, just go back. Then when you reach a place that is safe and you realize that you are not being followed by any of these robbers, you can then report to any patrol operations or any police station that is near you, so that they could take it up from there. Alright, so that is it for now. We hope you leave your comments and suggestions about what to do about these robberies in the Upper East region. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.